So welcome, Ismail. Thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us today. I'm Cathy. I'm from the Microsoft Startups team based out of Sydney, and it's a pleasure to have you here with us as part of the Microsoft Startups Highway to 100 Unicorns program. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Cathy, for having me here. Super excited to be speaking to you today.
Yeah, well, there's only one person who's going to do this really, really well, and it's you. Can you tell us what Univiser does?
So Univiser is a peer-to-peer platform that helps prospects to connect with nominated student ambassador of a university prior to enrollment. So we are a white label B2B2C product. So the problem what we are solving, Kathy, is prior to enrollment of university, students from around the world and parents and families find it quite hard when they are transitioning from high school to university. So the best people to advise them in that process is a current student or alumni. So that's where we found the gap to help future students and their parents to make the right choice and to reduce the asymmetric information that is there when applying to colleges, universities, or education institutes.
It's such a huge investment in somebody's life and time, and it sounds like the ultimate sort of try before you buy, but also a really necessary human touch to be able to actually communicate it. So definitely saw your gap there. And I guess what sort of challenges does that throw up?
So I think for us, I would say the biggest challenge would be since I think as a startup, one of the biggest challenges would be for us to educate the potential customer that this is the sort of market, right? Like for example, as humans, we are social creatures. So this concept of peer recommendations or referrals has been there from the earliest of time. Even a simple thing like going to a restaurant and asking what's good on the menu. This concept of peer-to-peer recommendations or peer reviews has been there back in the time. I'm sure when you want to go to a new restaurant in town, you ask a friend or a colleague who has been there before on what's good on the menu. So like you clearly mentioned, education is a big investment, 3 to 4 years of your life. So it's very important to have to speak to someone. Now, if you know someone who has studied there, you're quite lucky. But many people in the world, especially first in the family, who are probably going for university or college, do not have that connection. So that's where we come and tell the colleges that you are improving your widening participation, your access for foreign students by having this option. So it's like trying to do the mindset change that referral already happens, but we can help to do it better. So I think one of our biggest challenges is inaction from them. They're like, you have WhatsApp, we have prefer to, use traditional, maybe sort of email referrals or, connect them on a telephone number or so.
And I would actually put it on par that, choosing your university degree and where you're going to study it is as important as getting your meal choice right in a restaurant. There's nothing sort of riskier than getting the wrong thing and then, food envy. Whoo! So there's scope for, I guess, rolling the product out into other markets. But, do you have plans of expansion into other markets? And how can companies like Microsoft help you with that?
So we have currently set up office in India, US, and Singapore. Quite happy to say that we are working with almost all the top institutions in our home country in Sri Lanka right now. And we have built really good case studies, good testimonials, and good feedback. So it's and as we are building a global product, it's quite easy. The problem is quite common, globally. Students and colleges, the problem is quite common. And getting into a program like Microsoft also is like, as a confidence boost for us. And coming from an Asian background as well, when you're doing a startup, it's quite risky. So when you say you get selected into Microsoft, I think the parents and family think that, okay, I'm on to something, right? So that's a good way. And also especially the technical support which Microsoft has given us. I think we had some deep dive sessions with the CTO, and it really gave us a lot of ideas to avoid technical debt. So we are able to save many months. In fact, I think we would have got ourselves into quite a mess if we did not have the conversation with the CTO and residents. So we're super thankful for Microsoft for giving us the knowledge on how to build a quite global scalable product.
That's amazing feedback. I guess before you engaged in those conversations and afterwards, do you have key criteria that you have when you're sort of making technology decisions for Univiser?
So, Cathy, it's very important as we are running, end of the day, primarily a technology product. It's super important for us to invest the right resources, not only in terms of money, but making sure we're using the right technology for our purpose. So, having the opportunity to work with Microsoft has given us the opportunity to build products which would be scalable and which would have security compliance, because we are working with a lot of multiple foreign customers. So it's important, especially when we work with European customers, that we're following GDPR compliant and having to work with Microsoft products. It's good for us because they already have all the certifications. It's very easy to use Microsoft certifications and to show to customers that, hey, we are, following the best practice in the market.
Yeah, I think that that's such an easy win for us to say that Microsoft, it's kind of what we do to be in a lot of places and to be familiar to a lot of people. But the startups are the ones that bring the magic. We just provide the platform, and you guys do amazing stuff with it. So if you kind of do achieve the different things that you set out to whilst you're with us on the Highway to 100 Unicorns program, what sort of an impact would that have on Sri Lanka and the, in economic growth?
So, as you may know, the Sri Lanka is going through a rough patch economically. So I feel that us as young entrepreneurs have a role to play in trying to help the economy the best way we can by increasing export earnings and so forth. So by working with Microsoft, actually coming from a very small island, small but quite a unique island in terms of geography and the things that have come out of here, gives a lot of credibility, especially when we go to the international market. So even when I go for foreign customers and when I go to meet them and I pitch them, I say, hey, we are one of the few startups that have got selected from Asia to be part of the Highway to 100 program. So that immediately gives us a lot of credibility, and people look at us in a way that, okay, if these guys are working with Microsoft, that there's something in them, so we need to work with them closely. So I feel coming from a developing country, having the opportunity to work with Microsoft is I would say, of course, the technical support, but also I would say the branding and marketing recognition is giving us that extra push.
Wow, what a suite of products to sort of see as available to you, and they certainly are. I think the startups that know that that's there and that are ready to dig around for it are the ones that really, really squeeze the cloth and get the most out of this program. What sort of trends are you noticing in your market, and how is Univiser addressing them?
So I think one of the biggest trends, or one of the a huge growth that we saw, I would say, was COVID. COVID, was a blessing in disguise for us, to be honest, because once COVID happened, learning went online. Likewise, recruitment admissions became 100% online. So since we are in the space of having a tool which helps in online recruitment, we saw a huge number of students starting to use our platform, especially with our customers. We had people reach out to us and say, hey, I saw you were doing with XYZ college. We'd also like to have a similar product. Can you talk to us? So I feel this mega trend COVID, although it has been quite bad in terms of the health complications of people, I feel for startups, especially for tech startups, has been quite good for us. And I feel we are hoping for this growth to keep on continue as colleges have got used to realizing that a lockdown could come anytime. So we need to invest in technology, and we need to invest in new ways to reach out to markets. And also colleges now no longer compete locally. Because of online learning, hybrid learning, colleges are competing internationally. So they need to make themselves more appealing for the foreign students. If not, they cannot just compete with the local thing. So that's where we come in, and we can kind of help them to reach out to a wider audience.
Right. I think, you answered my next question, which was how COVID had impacted you. Having started, business in 2018, you would have had a good 2 years to sort of get yourselves firmly established and know what it is that you did, and then be ready for the sort of wave coming through. Does that mean that there was time to kind of pivot to make it stronger when you didn't anticipate it to be online so much?
So I think that was the biggest challenge we faced, because we didn't anticipate so much of volume, because the way we built it was like like an MVP, a version 1 of the product. And then once we started scaling, that's where we noticed we had huge technical debt. And it was a really good timing for us, like when we got selected to this program, because we were rewriting our deck for version 2.0 of our product. And I think the timing was perfect, because we were able to understand the market for 2 years. We noticed huge number of volumes, but our product was not able to scale to that level. Then we got into Microsoft, and then using the support, we are able to really understand the best practices, and now we are rebuilding our stack for scaling up. So I would say right now we are transitioning from the startup to scale up phase. And I think Microsoft is a huge partner, especially in terms of tech support, to get us to unicorn one day.
Yeah, that's the plan. It started off on such a good foot. That's a brilliant way to have started to, hit the ground running and figure something out. We've still got the rest of the year in program. So hopefully there's a few more diamonds to be uncovered for you and for Univiser and for Microsoft to kind of really nut out some problems. If not for just the only one to figure out how to scale up, that one's pretty important. But I think there's still some more magic to be had. So thanks so much for joining us. We are delighted to have you in the program, and we will check in a little bit later in the year and see how it's all going. But it's been a pleasure for today, Ismail.
Thank you so much, Cathy. I hope you have an amazing week ahead.
Oh, thank you. You too. See you later.
Thank you.